When I was growing up, there was no participation trophy thing going on, and I really wish there was. I am not one of those people who thinks that it makes kids, too wishy washy or something like that, or lazy. I actually really wish that there had been a participation trophy when I was little because I value trying. And to me, trying is the point. I feel like there's a lot in the United States of a focus on success and on having like a list of achievements, and I'm not interested in that. That doesn't appeal to me at all. That can be inflated, that can be exaggerated, that can be handed to people. I like triers, and I like being someone who tries. Putting effort in, persevering, actually being content with what you have, but not so content that you stay there and making progress. I don't view success as a destination. I view it as an adaptation. It's constantly changing and growing with us as we grow throughout our lives. And if someone would have ever, when I was little, like given some sort of an affirmation for that, that would have been very helpful for me. For me to know that I wasn't like weird or a freak or just, I never felt like I fit when I was growing up. And part of that was due to how I was being raised at home in an abusive environment. And part of that was poverty. But part of it was that my mindset was just very different. I don't understand people who worship, for instance, Elon Musk just made it back to being the richest man in the world. And he has so many people following him, hounding him, hanging off his every word, and I don't get it. He is not someone I personally would admire. And the reason is I don't see the big number and see success. I want to see all of the things, all of the hardships. You know who's a wealthier person, or however you want to say that? Someone who's not in the bottom 70% of Americans that I admire? The maker of Ugg boots. For the first multiple years of starting Ugg boots, it was just something that he was stubborn about. He was in the red. He was not making profit, but he just kept persevering. He kept going even though it was hard, even though it was laborious. And then when he finally got to the point where it was semi-profitable, he went to partner what he thought was a partnership, and he accidentally sold the company. He didn't pay attention to the writing in the contracts because he wasn't savvy on that, and he accidentally sold his company. So what did he do? Got himself up off the floor after a little bit of depression and started working as a salesperson. He went to the new owners and said, look, I know this company inside and out. I'm a good sales guy. Let me go be a salesperson so that I can at least work for the company that I started. And they were like, okay. And he became like an insanely good salesman, like incredibly good salesman, to the point where they were like, wow, this is impressive. And he started working so many hours and doing so much stuff at the company that eventually one guy consolidated into full ownership, and he had to respect the sheer volume of work and effort that the inventor of Ugg boots was putting in. So he said, you know what? You started this company. This company wouldn't be the same without you. You are the heart and soul of this company. You should never have not been co-owner in the first place. Let's be co-owners. It's the right thing to do. Like, it's ridiculous that you're not. And he's like, yes, finally. No, the guy dies. And the entirety of the ownership of the company goes to his wife, his widow. So once again, he has to go out of his way, working his butt off to prove to this woman how valuable the company is and how much it would be worth to her to sell it. And he's willing to buy it full price. He inflates the value of it with his own effort, working 18-hour days for a solid year, trying to build up the value and the worth of the company with his own sweat so that it's precious enough in how much he can offer her for it at a fair price that she'll sell it. He didn't get a deal. The guy works and works and works and works. And through that consistency and through that passion and through learning from mistake after mistake, he gets somewhere. But even when he gets there, it's not enough. He keeps going. He keeps growing. And I admire that. I have many times in my life gone to do something that I really, really believed in and I really wanted to do. And the people around me kind of shut it down. They're like, oh, why would you even try? You know, they don't see the possibility of the effort of trying to be fulfilling. They only want to see a certain degree of success. And if that success isn't there, it's not worthwhile. I technically have published 3 books. None of them did that great. But I was thrilled because ever since I was a teenager, I had wanted to be a published author. And no one in my family gave me reviews for my books. Only one person in my entire family even read a book. My mom at least bought all 3 of them, but she never read any of them. But that was more supportive than almost anyone. I'm one of 10 kids. I have so many astronomically large amounts of aunts, uncles, cousins, all of that, because generationally in my family, everyone has at least like 5-6 kids throughout the generation. So I have a ridiculous amount of family. I also had friends. I had coworkers. Nobody cared. Nobody was interested because it's not like I was going to ever make it big anyway. And I get so sad about that. Because for me, I was just trying to fulfill a childhood dream. But nobody can see that because that's not the culture here in the United States. I hear so many people, especially when I'm helping people with like their budgets or just getting into investing, they're like, oh, that's too small of an amount to even be worth my time. Oh, that's a waste of time. Oh, that's too little. I don't adhere to that concept. I value the effort of trying. I value the effort of learning. How do you think you're going to manage a large sum of money if you can't even manage a small amount of money? People who dream about like winning the lottery or making it big, if you don't know how to manage money when you have a small amount, how in the world do you think you're going to actually keep that money once you get it, if you get it? If you get handed all that money, someone comes and knocks on your door and says, here's $2 billion. How are you going to keep that $2 billion? You can't even manage $2,000. Like, in reality, consistency and a willingness to learn, an openness to learning, it really, really is impactful to your life. And the act of trying is such an important value to have for me personally. And I encounter it very rarely. For whatever weird reason, people value the quote-unquote perfection or the success. They're impressed by, oh, you go into this college, oh, you have this degree, oh, you're in this career, oh, you earn this a year. It's like, it takes no courage, it takes no stubbornness, perseverance. Like, after a certain point, you just sit back on your laurels. Okay, well, I did that, cool. And you had to work to get to that point. But once you get to that point, you just sort of sit back. And I don't understand that concept at all. It's like people who want to retire early and they just want to sit back for the rest of their life. I don't get that. That doesn't appeal to me personally. I care about trying new things, trying new experiences, trying to help people, trying to better myself, trying to learn, trying to accept reality and the truth and be fascinated by how things work and how different cultures interact with each other and how different economic systems interact with each other and the overall world economic system and the parts of the system that are just broken and ways to try to implement fixes. And it's interesting to me. And it just seems like there's so many people it's not interesting to. They would rather sit back and consume instead of step forward and give. And for me personally, stepping forward and giving of myself and working on myself and putting effort out into the world from my own self is very fulfilling. Some people, when they sit back or they pull back, they're not doing it because it's the culture, they're doing it because they're trying to survive. I'm not talking about those people at the moment. I have been in that position where I had nothing to give because I was at a bottom point. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about an overall impression that there is just from like media, like not even just social media, but even like movies and TV shows and stuff. There's this, oh, I gotta make it to this, specific job or this specific entrepreneurship or whatever it is, and then I'll have it made. And they have like this image in their head that they're aspiring to get to, and it's not realistic. And once they get there, then what? It's just dissatisfying. So then they think, well, maybe I didn't do good enough. I don't have enough. And they're competitive, but they're competitive in a super unhealthy way because they're actually just desperate for a goal that's actually satisfying. If the goal is to try, then the entire time it's satisfying. Whether you get there or not, the entire time you're putting in that effort and you're proud of yourself. You can take confidence from that. You can be learning evidence from that and growing as a person from that and gaining new skills. And maybe you won't do the exact thing you thought you were going to do, but it can still lead you in a nifty direction. And being open to change, being open to learning, being open to that effort is so satisfying. And you don't have to feel like a disappointment if you didn't reach a certain goal, because you're doing it for yourself. I got to the point where I stopped telling people about my stuff. One time was when I was going through a really hard time, I looked into making like a GoFundMe. They like send a Facebook message to all of your Facebook contacts and stuff, and I was like, I can't do this. Every single person would A, not donate, and that would feel crappy, and B, would be like, oh, why are you even doing that? Like, they're very big on putting you down unless it's for something that they view as success. And I'm not that way. So I've had to stop telling people about things that I do. There is not a single person on the entire face of the planet who actually knows me personally, who knows that I have this YouTube channel, except my therapist. Nobody. Not even my best friend. Not even my closest ally. Not even my closest sibling. Not even a girlfriend. Nothing. Nobody. Because in actuality, I don't trust them to be supportive. So I have to be supportive of my own self and be like, you know what? When I first thought about being a YouTuber was like 2007, 2006, somewhere in there. And maybe I'll never actually get to the point where it could be monetized. I certainly don't expect to become like a viral thing or to ever actually get to some point where it's like, oh, I have like 1 million subscribers or something like that. That would be cool, but I'm doing it. And I might have only a few subscribers, but that's okay. Already on some of my videos are comments where something that I put out helped somebody. And for me, putting in the effort and giving something out is the point. And without all those voices telling me how pitiful it is and how not worthwhile it is and it's not going to really do anything anyway, I'm staying pretty consistent with it, and I am happy. It energizes me to put out effort, to try, to learn something new, like video editing. Learning about that has been a learning curve for me, but that's okay. I don't mind the challenge. The challenge teaches me stuff, and learning something and growing from that is good. I don't have to be quote unquote successful. I don't have to be Mr. Beast. I can just be me. But part of being me, part of not dismissing my own values, part of not throwing myself under the bus, part of not treating myself with disregard is for me to put into action what I value. And one of the things I value is trying, is taking action, is learning about something and putting it into practice. Consistency. So for me, just doing it is good. But I know my camera's not the greatest. I know my audio quality isn't the greatest. I know my editing skills are fledgling, but it's something I wanted to do since a long time ago, so I'm doing it because I can learn something from it. It doesn't matter if it ever gets that big. Learning something is totally worthwhile. And at first, I tried the whole advice that I see a lot of YouTubers put out, oh, do a faceless video. And you can go look back. The first videos I ever posted on this channel when I made it was, faceless videos. And while I agree with the words that were being said, it wasn't my voice. And while it was kind of helpful for my introduction to video editing to mess around with some other images that someone else made, it wasn't my effort making that in the first place beyond learning something about clipping video pieces together. Like, it wasn't what I actually wanted to do. And I realized even though they're like faceless videos or where it's at and you can get so much money from that, I realized the money's not the point for me. Like, the point for me is to do what I want to do. The whole point of not telling anyone about this channel that I know personally is so that I'll do what I want to do. And I realized I didn't want to make faceless videos. I didn't want it to be someone else's voice. So I stopped doing that. And those faceless videos, they have almost no views. Like, none of my videos have a ton of views, but but the faceless videos have like 8 views. And like the video I put out, just a few days ago has over 200 views. So I say doing what I want worked out for me already. To me, that's success. To me, that is progress, and progress feels good. I don't want to get to perfection, because perfection automatically, if I ever reached it, would turn into limbo, would turn into plateauing. And I don't want that. I don't like that feeling. I hate feeling stuck. I like feeling like there's progress. It can be marginal progress, teeny tiny little ant footstep progress. I don't care. I like that effort. I like the trying. I don't put like, subscribe, hit the little bell things on my videos because I feel like that would be unfair considering I'm just starting out. My video quality as far as like image quality, I know my camera's not the best. I know I'm talking into my video gaming headset instead of like a Blue Yeti mic or something. So, and I don't do that. I am not concerned with min-maxing views. I'm not concerned with being the most successful YouTuber who ever was a YouTuber, or even remotely close to that. What I'm concerned with is, am I helping people? And am I growing? Am I learning? Am I doing something that I wanted to do? That's my concern. And I appreciate every single person who's made a comment on any of my videos so far, because you're letting me know, yeah, I'm making progress. And that's awesome for me. That's incredibly fulfilling for me. I appreciate it more than I know how to express. And I hope that I continue to put out something that can help someone, because that is the goal. And I want to help people who maybe don't always get a hand reaching out to help them, because a lot of my life, that's been me. And I know how much it sucks to be in that spot. So going forward, I want to keep making more videos that hopefully help people, and I just want to say thank you. And if you are one of those people who's been really focused on an image of success and not on the journey and not on your own personal effort and your own personal growth, if you have been a person who's been holding back on trying and just holding on to accolades, maybe, just maybe, trying would help. It might bring fulfillment to your life. It might help you learn a new skill. It might help you get excited and fill you with passion or energy. Just try it. Just try trying. It might be scary, and you might be like, well, I don't know perfectly what to do. As long as you have some semblance of an idea, it's okay. As long as you have some plan of some sort, just go with it. You'll learn as you go. Hands-on learning. You can do it. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be flashy, and no one else has to know about it. Do your thing. Try. See what happens.